All right, guys, here again at the LGR Coach's Corner with another junior college coach. We got our first time, we got an assistant coach on, get a different perspective. We got Coach Chris Godfrey from Northwest Florida State Junior College. Coach, how you doing today?
Doing all right. How about yourself?
I can't complain, man. Just a little bored, so we know we're taking advantage of this extra time we got. So we're interviewing a few of you guys to get some general ideas out to just the people that follow us and the whole recruiting process and how that goes along. With you being at the junior college level, what do you think some myths that come across from a junior collegiate level?
I think the number one thing that we have to fight against as junior college coaches, when we're recruiting players, is this idea that all of our junior college kids are scarred or fractured or damaged in some type of way. I mean, you have a lot of parents, especially, that get on the phone and say, "Oh, well, I don't know if my child can be a fit at a junior college, because she's never gotten in any trouble before." And it's like, well, hardly any of our kids have either. I mean, I think we see a lot in the media about like the junior college kid, the high profile junior college kid that is on their second chance, on their third chance. But we also have kids on our team that graduated in the top 10% of their class. Our starting point guard has 4.2 GPA coming out of high school, and was in the high 20s, on her ACT. So, there's a lot of different reasons why players choose the junior college route, and it doesn't always have to do with some type of negative. The fact of the matter is, we play quality basketball, and it's a quality opportunity, and the kids that understand that and are able to see that for what it is, I think they have a great opportunity in being able to benefit from what we offer here.
No doubt, for sure. With that, so you're saying it's not exactly like Last Chance U over there?
No. It's not quite Last Chance U. I mean, it is still college. I mean, obviously, we have to do our jobs and and make sure that that we're helping, guiding, and developing young teenagers. Because we do have freshmen and sophomore. There's no junior and senior leadership there. So we do have the kids when it comes to college basketball, and we understand that that's part of our jobs, and being mentors and being developers of both talent, but also, making sure that our young women are, growing up in a way that, is going to help them succeed in life, so it's part of our responsibility. But no, I mean, there's nothing on fire over here at Northwest Florida. I mean, our girls definitely take care of business. And, I mean, my head coach, he always boasts about the fact that, at this particular junior college, we have a 100% graduation rate. I mean, every kid that we've had to come in here as a sophomore, that has the opportunity to graduate, they've done so. And, that's something that we hang our hat on, even more so than the success that we've had on the basketball court.
Big time, man. Big time. So, Chris, we talked about it a little off camera. It's your fifth year in the junior college level. Granted, it's your first year at Northwest Florida State. Can you, I guess, talk more about yourself, your coaching experience throughout the 5 years and the program you're at now?
Oh man, 5 years. It's been quite a journey. For me personally, this has been four schools in 4 years for me. Just kind of bouncing around a lot, and obviously I'm in a great situation here at Northwest Florida. But the first place I ever worked at was a small junior college in Southeast Texas, Coastal Bend College out in Region 14, and I was coming from up north, and quite frankly, I had no idea the college existed. I'm like going on the website, and I'm like, man, like somebody told me about this job, and but I don't even know. Like the website kind of looks shaky in some places, and I'm like, I'm just taking a chance because this is what I always wanted to do. And I quit a job and moved from up north, moved down to Southeast Texas, and man, when I got off the plane, I was just hoping there was somebody outside to pick me up from the airport. And, fortunately that was the case. And, I got two great years in, and, that first year, oh man, I can't even tell you anything but the truth. I was terrible. I just was not very good at it. Trying to learn all of the things that you need to learn to be successful at this level. And quite frankly, I came in ignorant to junior college basketball. I'm asking people like, so, Trinity Valley, are they good? Like, so what's going on? Who are we playing against? And, and everybody's looking at me like, oh man, you got a lot to learn. So it was baptism by fire, but, I appreciate the opportunity that, that Coastal Bend gave me to break into the business and, really kind of develop my work ethic. Because we didn't have a lot, and everything that we were able to accomplish that even resembled success just took so much work. And I think that's part of my story. Fortunately, I was able to move on from Coastal Bend College to Kilgore College, which is in Northeast Texas, also in Region 14, and worked for an amazing coach, Anna Nims, who's now the associate head coach at University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. But I spent a year with Coach Nims, and it was just a big time learning experience for me because she is just a very intelligent person when it comes to how she runs her program and just the overall knowledge of basketball that she has. So spending a year with her really kind of like jump started, my development. I think by the end of that year, I started thinking to myself, like, what, I might be able to actually make a career out of this. She instilled a lot of confidence in me and empowered me a lot as an assistant coach, and really had a positive impact on my career. When she left to go to Texas Rio Grande Valley, I ended up bouncing to Eastern Oklahoma State and got a chance to work for one of my friends, which was a different type of scenario. I worked for Brandon Taylor at Eastern Oklahoma State, and we had a lot of fun working together. It's a different social dynamic when you're working with somebody who's similar in age to you. Somebody that if you weren't working for them, like, it would be somebody that you would go out and and just have fun with, and that was a different type of situation to be able to work with somebody who was kind of on the same level as me in certain areas. And every now and then he would kind of have to, like, yank me back to earth and say, hey man, remember, I'm still your boss. And we had a lot of fun working together, and encountered a lot of challenges, but it was definitely still an experience that I loved and appreciated, because it was the opportunity to work with a friend. And I think that's something that I want to be able to do again in the future, being able to have that type of relationship with the person that that I'm working with. So from Eastern Oklahoma, and somehow I ended up from Eastern Oklahoma to Northwest Florida. And Coach Walker took a chance on me, and I think he just kind of was aware of the fact that I had a reputation of being somebody that that worked very hard. And that's really always been my selling point, is my work ethic. At this point, 5 years in, I've had some good things happen in my career, but I don't think people are hiring me because of my wins and losses at this point. I think people are giving me opportunities because they know that whatever you give me, man, I'm going to try to make gold out of it. And that's the reputation that I want to carry throughout this business for the rest of my career.
I love it, man. So, we've been talking a lot throughout these interviews towards the players, the parents, and stuff like that. But, getting an assistant coach on, based off of what you said, I want to kind of spin it a little bit and talk more to the coaches. I get a lot of information, or a lot of people reach out to me, like, how can I get to the college ranks? How can I do this, do that? What kind of advice would you give either a high school coach, young AAU coach, young coach in general, just to how do you get into the college ranks?
Well, I think the first thing would be, don't be afraid to start from the bottom. I talk to a lot of people that are, kind of, I guess, just impressed by the fact that I've been able to stick through this for 5 years and, get to a point where, I can achieve some type of stability in a very unstable world of coaching. And, the first thing people ask me is like, well, how did you do this? How did you get involved? And, like the story I just told, I went to a school that I'd never heard of before. It's not like my first job was at Duke or anything like that. I was in a situation where, I had to, take a major chance and take on a lot of responsibilities that I probably didn't see myself, undertaking at the time. But I just never said no to anything. I embraced the fact that, that I had a long way to go. I also, embraced the fact that, my first year I was not very good as a basketball coach, and just accepting the fact that you need to grow and that you need to develop, and, not taking anything personally and taking everything as being constructive. I think that was the main thing for me, and just getting into as many situations as possible where I felt uncomfortable. I've never shied away from, any opportunity to kind of be in over my head. And pretty much every step that I've taken in this business, it's been, a blind leap of faith. I went out to Northwest Florida where I'm at now. I'd only met Coach Walker one time, and we had a couple of conversations on the phone. But when somebody in that type of position, puts some faith in you, and and it gives you the opportunity to come out to a place like Northwest Florida, I mean, you can't be overcome by your doubt of the situation. I mean, you got to step out in faith and make something happen. And I think that's what I've done in every situation that I've been in. So I mean, I think that's a large part of it. Also, as far as like advice to give young coaches, I mean, I started out as a manager, and I think because I was a student manager, I don't have the playing background that a lot of other coaches have. There's a certain like sense of urgency that you have when you're a manager at a college program. I was a manager at St. John's University. Our head coach was Kim Barnes-Arico, who's the head coach at the University of Michigan now. And working for Coach Arico, I mean, she just had everything like so together, and you didn't want to be the reason why anything did not go as planned. And I just got in the habit of like, if I was told something to do, like I would run to go do it. And I still do that as an assistant coach. If my head coach tells me to do something in practice, like I literally run to go do it. And I've had kids ask me, it's like, man, coach, like why you let the head coach punk you like that? He tell you to do something, you take off running to go do it. Like why? Like you don't gotta run, you can just go do it. Like nobody else does that. And I said, well, look, you gotta understand, like I'm not running because I'm letting my boss punk me. I'm running because like I'm respectful of the opportunity that I have. Like I'm grateful to be here. And that's just always been my attitude towards it. I consider myself lucky to be able to wake up every morning and do something that I love to do. So I think my sense of urgency and how I coach and how I get things done around the office, and and the things that I'm willing to do, as a recruiter. Getting in the car and driving 6 hours from Texas to Mississippi, and then driving, 6 hours back the same night so I can be at practice the next morning. Like those are things that I do out of appreciation for the opportunity that I have.
Man, that's a great story, man. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. And I've seen you, man, throughout the years, growing and climbing the ladder, so to say. But every time I've seen you in the gym, man, you always fired up and networking with people, and I don't think you've ever met a stranger, man. I'll give you that for sure.
Well, I can definitely talk to a brick wall, so that's that's always helpful, in those situations. But man, like I'm telling you, like I would do it for free, man. Like don't let that word get out, because I do like enjoy getting paid, but at the same time, like you will never convince me that being in the gym from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. is work. Like it's never seemed like that to me, and I don't think it ever will. I mean, this is something that I've loved being around for my entire life. And, the fact that I get to make a career out of it, man, like, again, like I wake up every morning because, I didn't play basketball, so for somebody who got cut from their high school basketball team to be able to make a career out of coaching basketball, man, like it's a dream come true for me, man. I can't describe it anywhere else.
No doubt, man. That's love. That's love. Flipping things back to a player's perspective, and I guess from your perspective as a coach, how do you find your players? We always get the question of where do I need to be for colleges to see me? What type of student athletes are you looking for? What are you focused on? And like I said, we kind of talked a little off record. You've been at 4 different schools. How does that change or adjust it while it was all on the same level?
Well, I think the one constant is, you have to be able to go out and play a style of basketball that's going to translate to the college level. I mean, I think that's the number one thing, just putting yourself in a situation where, if your film is out there, college coaches are going to be aware of your film and say, all right, this is something that, is going to translate. I can see this kid being able to do this same thing in our uniform instead of that high school uniform or instead of that AAU uniform. I think there's a lot of kids that, that I come across that, they will send you a highlight tape, and it's a whole highlight tape of things that they will not be able to do at the college level. Like the dipsy do triple crossover, spin around and all of that. It's like, you're not doing that against any of the teams in the Panhandle Conference. Golf Coast will be taking that ball and laying it up. And that's what we have to watch. I mean, we essentially have to disseminate all of the information that we find out about a kid and figure out what's actually going to work for us at the next level. So when it comes to like what you're putting out there, put an emphasis on your fundamentals. Make sure that, we're aware of the fact that, you understand spacing, that you have a certain amount of basketball IQ, that you can do things off of the ball instead of always having the ball in your hands. Just we don't see enough back cuts in highlight videos. Like the fact that, you were able to have the intelligence to realize that your defender was overplaying you when you cut back door, caught the ball and laid the ball up. Like we don't see that enough in highlights. Like at this point, we're more surprised at being able to see that than, a kid, slapping the backboard on a layup, even though they're 5'7", so I really just try to encourage kids to go out, play basketball, play as the most comfortable version of themselves. I talk to a lot of kids, because I'm a junior college coach. I mean, some of the kids, I can talk to them like right before they play games and like, hey coach, what do you think I need, and just go out there and be yourself, go out there and have some fun. Make sure, I love basketball. So like, I want to recruit kids that have the same amount of passion and energy for basketball that I do. So, most importantly, go out there and just have a ton of fun. Like that's going to impress me more than anything because, once you get to this level and you get into the grind of playing college basketball, there's going to be times where it's going to be very difficult. And if you don't have that love and passion for the game, you're going to hit a wall. Like it's not a skill set that carries you through, a 30 game regular season. It's really your passion and love for the game of basketball. So, I'm always looking for kids that are out there, just playing team ball and having a lot of fun and, looking like they enjoy what they're doing. I think it's also important to be able to show that you can play a role. I've noticed that there's a lot of kids that struggle at the next level if they've always been the star player. Like if you've never been on a team where you're not the best player, man, I would really suggest trying to go out and trying to find some better competition. I talk about not playing high school basketball. The mistake that I made as a young child was I got comfortable being the best player on my team. And I was the best player on my team in the 5th grade and in the 6th grade and in the 7th grade and in the 8th grade. And then when I got to the 9th grade, there was no team for me to play on because I didn't challenge myself. And there was these kids from all over the city of Detroit that, that combined at this one high school. And now all of a sudden I went from being the best player on my middle school team to not being a player on my high school team. So I think it's real important to just go out and, and try to find that competition and, try to find a situation where you're going to learn how to be a role player. Because even if you're the star player on your high school team, if you're going to the right kind of college situation, your freshman year of college, you're going to discover that you're a role player. And, I think it's very important for kids to have that, on their resume. The fact of the matter that, they can be somebody else besides a star player. I can be the 3-and-D kid. I can be the defensive specialist. I can be the corner knockdown shooter. I can be the offensive, the defensive rebounder. I can be the hustle, energy, effort person. There's so many different roles that you have to fill on a championship basketball team. And it seems like a lot of these kids that are coming out, the way they market themselves in recruitment, it seems like the only role that they're prepared to play at the college level is give me the ball and get out the way and watch me score. And we just don't have that many players like that, in college basketball.
Oh yeah, man, that's great advice all the way across the board. It kind of leads me into my next train of thought. So when you're recruiting your kid and they're trying to convince them to come to the junior college level, what is it that you're like selling? What's some benefits? Why should they pick your school over another one? I do feel like you guys are at a different level, in my opinion, where you guys are trying to get kids that maybe aren't happy with their looks. We think of JUCO as you got bad grades, so you have to go there. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think, Northwest Florida is special in a lot of ways because, some of the things that we offer here are probably on a level that, exceeds what you would find at some Division I institutions. We have a 2,500 seat arena. The arena that we play in, depending on what D1 you go to, when you leave Northwest Florida, your JUCO arena might be a little bit better than your D1 arena. That's obviously not the case for most kids that go to the junior college level. But I understand that we have a lot of aesthetic things that draw players to Northwest Florida. We've got a nice arena, we've got great facilities. The campus is beautiful. We're 20 minutes away from a beautiful beach, and and I think that sticks out to a lot of people because it's such an attractive place to be able to spend your college years. But at the end of the day, man, I'm really just trying to sell the opportunity to come here and develop. mean, I'm trying to recruit players that are really passionate about basketball. And, you know, when I talk about, when I talk about recruiting and when I talk about the possibility of someone joining our family at Northwest Florida, it's about, look at this place that you have to get better at. Look at these coaches that are so dedicated to your improvement and your success. We have 3 assistant coaches here. We have, a head coach who is in the office, at 6 o'clock in the morning every morning. And if you want to wake up at 6 a.m. and get a workout in with your head coach, Coach Walker is going to be happy to do that. And you've got 3 assistant coaches that have that, that same passion. So like, that's what I'm trying to sell. I'm trying to sell the fact that you can make a leap here that is not possible in any other, in any other level of college basketball, because we don't have like contact restrictions. I mean, one of my kids can call me at 11 o'clock and say, "Hey, coach, I can't sleep. I'm just trying to get in the gym. Like, can we go get some shots up?" And we gonna go get shots up at 11 p.m. Because we have that opportunity, to be able to be, very hands-on with our kids and their development. So that's, I think that's the main selling point. Obviously, the beach is here, the arena is amazing, the campus is amazing. We have a lot of fun over here. But the selling point is you can have an improvement in 1 year at Northwest Florida that can take you from a low major player to being a high major player. And, and if that doesn't interest you, then, I mean, there's probably another school for you to go to where you'd be a better fit anyway.
No doubt. The beach don't sound too bad either. I'll take a
Oh,
little.
the beach is beautiful. I can't even swim, but I just go in the water and just sit there because it's a cool environment to be in. I mean, it definitely is a more scenic situation than some other places that I've been in junior college. We'll just leave it at that.
I love it. Man, so, with the 2021s mostly, but in general, social media. The reason why I say 2021 is because now we know April's no live period, May's no live period, June, probably no team camps, elite camps, July, 50-50 at best. Who knows what's going to happen? Social media and recruiting, how do you use that, I guess, from your level, your perspective, and your knowledge?
Oh man, so if I could just give out like some words of advice, some of this stuff is gonna seem so simple, but like you have no idea how hard it is to find something simple like your name. If you're trying to be recruited and you're trying to use social media to help your recruitment, your first and last name should be somewhere on your social media profile. Like I can't. I don't know that, I don't know that Bad Mama Jamma 23 is you. Like just put your first last name up there. Like that makes my life so much easier just in terms of trying to locate you. Because a lot of times I'll get a phone call from somebody saying, "Man, you know what, you need to check out this kid from this place." And the first place that I go is the social media, and then I can't find your name or anything associated with you because your profile has every nickname, every other like moniker you can possibly have besides your actual first or last name. So, I mean, if you could just throw your first and last name up there, what school you go to, what year you are, if you're class of 2020, just CO 2020 makes my life a whole lot easier. As far as posting film and everything like that, like I said, just to make sure that you're posting yourself doing things that are going to translate at the college level. I've never seen a kid like I get like posting the workouts just to show people that that you're working and that you're doing a lot of you're doing a lot of good with your free time. I'm not saying that like the work that you're doing with the trainer isn't helping you, but what I am saying is like I've never watched a kid work out with a trainer for 5 minutes and said, you know what, we got to offer this kid a scholarship. Like she looks really good going around these cones. It's never happened. So as far as what you're putting out to help you get recruited, I mean, make sure that it is, you playing quality basketball against quality competition, where we actually have an opportunity to have some type of accurate evaluation of you. And, don't be afraid to reach out. I know that it's weird. Like I get more follows and, and DMs from kids that are, 2023 and 24, and sometimes as young as like 25, and like they want to like follow you and DM you. But then, the kids that are class of 2020 that are running out of time to pick up offers, like those are the kids that you rarely see, in the DMs. So like, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody. if you see that, if you see that envelope there and you're able to DM somebody, make sure coaches know that you're interested. Sell yourself, sell your maturity, sell the fact that you're understanding that you're going to have to come in and play a role. And if you hop in my DM and tell me that you're going to come to Northwest Florida and score 20 points per game, I'm probably going to ignore it. But if you hop in my DM and say, you know what, coach, I really think that I can defend at your level. Like, here's my highlight tape. Or, coach, like I'm a knockdown shooter. I'm getting on the gun every day, and I'm hitting X% from the 3-point line when I'm doing my workouts on the shooting gun. Like, I think I can come in and be a 3-point specialist for your program. Those type of messages get my attention a heck of a lot more than, well, I was the district MVP and I scored 25 points per game at small high school, XYZ. That's not going to really, catch my attention in the way, somebody who's understanding of the role that they might play at the college level. And then the obvious one too is, just make sure your social media is cleaned up. The cursing, the swearing, some of the videos that kids post can be kind of problematic. And, we have to do our due diligence, and we have to do a lot of research in terms of like what type of character we're bringing into our program. So social media is that's the first place that we go to find out that information. So Northwest Florida is a brand. It's a brand that we want people to recognize, around the country. And once we bring you into our program, you become an ambassador of that brand. And we have to make sure that you're representing that brand properly. And your social media is probably going to be one of the primary ways that you represent us. So we have to make sure that that social media account reflects everything, everything that we stand for as a program.
Man, you kind of stole my next little segue to the next question, man. Like, when I was at Nichols, of course, when we hear about a kid or whatever, and we, like you said, we go and type in, try to find them on social media, try to find them on Google or whatever. And has there ever been an opportunity or a situation where, I know it happened to us plenty of times, we follow a kid and we take them off the recruiting board based off of character issues that we see them posting. It's like, social media is a double-edged sword. It can be great on one end where you get your highlights out and you can reach out to coaches like yourself, or it can be the other side to where you can get cut from someone's recruiting board.
Oh man! So last year we had a student athlete that we were very high on, and there was nothing about, like, you talk to this kid, there was nothing about her that would suggest that she was anything but an angel. And I was so caught off guard because I was following her on Instagram, and one day in her Insta story, like, she literally just had on Instagram, like, posted, she was like, yes, like, whoever's selling bud at school today need to come hit me up. And I'm like, oh no, like, I can't believe you just did that on your Instagram, and that I follow you. So, the thing that was disappointing wasn't that she did it. It was the fact that she did it knowing that I follow her on Instagram, which kind of gives me the impression that you did that thinking it was okay. And that's more problematic than you making a mistake. The fact that you did this essentially in front of me, like, you know that I follow you. It's not something that was a secret. I tell the players I recruit, hey, I'm gonna try to find you and follow you on every social media platform that we can, because we want to be able to get a chance to get an inside look at your character. So unless she was just being negligent, I took it as, this is something that you think is okay, and it's obviously not okay for us. So we have to cut ties. So that was that one hurt, because that was a really good player, and to have to go into the head coach's office and say, I know you really like this kid, but I just don't think we can recruit her anymore, and have to explain that situation. That was tough, but it was something that we needed to do.
Yep, no doubt, man. It's like you said, it's a business at the end of the day, and it's a brand that you're representing, and you're making sure that at the end of the day you can feed your family and you can provide for yourself. And you can't really – character goes a long ways. Like basketball, dribbling the basketball, a lot of people can do that, but character's going to go a long ways as well. So with junior college, you're always recruiting kids to your school, right? But you're the only kind of college level that also tries to promote their kids onto 4-year levels. Can you talk about that experience, how it is always turning the roster over and then always trying to recruit kids, but also get kids re-recruited?
Well, honestly, I think that's probably one of my favorite parts of my job is, the fact that we kind of get to burn both ends of the candle when it comes to recruiting, because I would say that outside of winning championships, man, I think the most gratifying and satisfying moment that you have as a junior college coach is when a kid that you put a lot of time and effort into developing is able to sign a scholarship at any level. I've had kids that have signed with NAIA schools that, like that NAIA signing caused me to tear up. The same way that, signing our kids signing at a Power 5 school. So it's a great situation to be in because it allows us to network a lot more than coaches at other levels. I'm constantly talking to high school coaches and club coaches, but I'm also constantly talking to Division I coaches, and it gives you more opportunity to establish relationships, and relationships leads to learning. So I feel like I'm in a really positive spot in my career where we have a lot of kids on our team that are being recruited by various programs, and that gives me an opportunity to spend a lot of time on the phone with with coaches from various levels. So I mean, that's probably the best part. That's probably the best part for me, is just being in that middle ground. It's different because I get a chance to take a lot of the things that might bother me about the recruiting process with the kids that I have. There's certain kids that I have in Northwest Florida, and it's like, well, how is this kid not getting recruited? And why can't they see that, this kid brings this, and this to the table? But then all of these complaints that I have, I now have to like bounce them back off on me and say, wait a minute, am I doing the same thing when I go into a high school gym? Am I doing the same thing when I go to a club tournament? Like all of these things that I'm getting mad at Division I coaches, Division II coaches about, because they're not seeing this, and this in my kids. Am I giving these high school kids that I'm recruiting, am I giving them that same justice?
Awesome, man. Coach, I appreciate your time, man. You spent a lot of time with us, dropped a lot of knowledge. You talked about social media. Is there anywhere that the girls can kind of follow you, social media-wise? Anybody can follow you, parents, anything, and they can reach out to you?
Well, definitely you can find me on social media. Coach Chris Godfrey. My Twitter handle. I don't even know what my Twitter handle is right now. it's something that Coach. Yeah, put my Twitter handle out there, man. I know if you search my first and last name, my Twitter handle will pop up. But I don't want to give you the wrong thing for the handle. But I'm out there on Twitter, out there on social media all the time. I'm probably on Twitter more than I should, but it's a safe space for me because I enjoy being social, and I just love talking about the game of basketball and and sharing about what I do. So definitely reach out to me on social media. Don't be afraid to DM me. Leave your number in my DM, and like we can talk basketball. I mean, we don't got nothing else better to do right now. So I'm trying to talk basketball with as many people as possible at whatever level. So yeah, that's me.
Love it, man. Coach Godfrey, again, man, appreciate you coming out, spend some time with us. Thanks everyone for watching. Look for some more Coaches Corners interviews with us on our YouTube, LGR. And until next time, man, see you guys.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris, bro.